Hey y'all, welcome to Tristian Circa 89, where I obsess over pop culture so you don't have to. So I decided I wanted to do a part two to my Scream 6 predictions. I did part one about a week or so ago, almost 2 weeks ago. And since then, I've thought about the movie some more. I thought about the franchise. I've seen Scream 5 again. And so I just want to kind of throw out some ideas that I think they should integrate into future films, hopefully Scream 6. So let's just jump right into it. Firstly, I feel like Scream 6 in a lot of ways is going to have some callbacks to Scream 2. I don't think it'll be exactly like that one. Of course, it won't be exactly like that one, but I do think there will be some throwbacks, some references, and things like that. So here's my first one. So Scream 2 opens in a theater at the premiere of Stab, the first Stab movie. So we have a lot of people dressed as Ghostface. And as I was thinking, okay, well, what is another scenario like that where you could get a bunch of people, there would be a bunch of people around dressed as Ghostface. You wouldn't really know who's really Ghostface, who's just an innocent bystander dressed up in a costume. And the first thing I thought was StabCon, a Stab convention, just like comic book conventions, a Stab convention. And it totally makes sense that in the Scream universe, what the franchise is like, the Stab franchise is like 8 films deep. You could create plenty of content to have an entire Stab convention. You would have actors, makeup artists, directors, screenwriters, interviews with real life people who were around during the killings from the first four Scream films. So it would make sense that there would be some kind of Stab convention happening once a year. So yeah, I think we should open at a Stab convention. To take it a step further, I feel like this is the perfect place to reintroduce Kirby into the franchise. To have her at a Stab convention on a panel. I would even say let's put the Meeks twins on the panel. Let's put Mindy and Chad on the panel with her. We can get that quick banter, that just funny banter between her and Mindy. I mean, again, I know we're all just chomping at the bit to see those two interact because we know it's going to be epic. And they can even kind of throw us off and make us think that one of these three will be the opening kill, maybe even all three. I could see the killer doing something like maybe there's a portion where they ask fans who are attending virtually to call in, and we get a Ghostface call in this convention room with Kirby, Mindy, and Chad on this panel in a room full of people. Some are dressed as Ghostface, some are not. We don't know what's going on. In the midst of this, I think we should have an older actress. I'm thinking Virginia Madsen from the Candyman franchise. We should include her in this scene. Have her get a call on her cell phone from Ghostface or from someone who's taunting her. And have her interacting with the killer, have the killer interacting with the Meeks twins and Kirby on the panel. He's telling them, okay, I'm going to quiz you guys. If you don't get it right, someone dies. So, of course, Kirby and Mindy knock it out of the park. Now, Chad, however, let's say he answers a question wrong and we see people get killed. Maybe not in the convention room, but maybe outside of the convention room, we see someone get stabbed. Again, we're following Virginia Madsen's character. We don't know who she is. And so, again, Kirby, Mindy answering the questions right, it keeps getting to Chad. Every time he answers wrong, someone dies. After this, after this freak out, this pandemonium, people are getting murdered at this stab time. We have Kirby find out that Virginia Madsen's character has been killed. She freaks out, she calls her mom, and this leads me to my second theory about the next Scream 6 film. As a throwback to Mrs. Loomis being the killer in Scream 2, the killers will not be, the killer this time won't be a parent, but the parents will be targeted in some way in Scream 6. So that means Martha Meeks is in danger, and her kids are going to be trying to protect her. We'll see Mrs. Carpenter targeted and Mr. Carpenter, because again, we know that Carpenter family dynamic is very jacked up. And I mean, it's inevitable that we will see their mother, Sam and Tara's mother in the next one. We know she's a stab fanatic, which I think, like I said in my first video, a stab fanatic having two daughters that are final girls, like we just know, I can see her being the ultimate stage mom, and I think that would be such an interesting angle to approach that character. Maybe Mr. Carpenter is integrated back into it. He's trying to reconnect with his girls, reconnect with Tara. maybe make amends with Sam because of how he treated her after he found out she wasn't his daughter. But again, I think the parents should be targeted in some way, not the only targets, but definitely targeted in some way, just as a throwback reference to Mrs. Loomis being the killer in Scream 2. So, as a part of the whole stage mom thing, I'm imagining this scene in my head in which we see Sam watching Gail's show and she sees her mother in terror on TV. And Tara and her mother have co-written a book about the events of Scream 5 or Scream 2022 and how Tara survived and how Mrs. Carpenter as a mother was just trying to recover from the fact that her daughter, oh wait, no wait, daughters survived that event. Because again, we know that Sam and Mrs. Carpenter, even from that original script, we see there's not the best relationship there. We even told in the film that they have a tense relationship. So we can even see her kind of forget that, oh wait, no, my daughter Sam survived it too. Not just Tara, even though I co-wrote the book with her. Like again, just that we can see Sam reacting to this, being upset. I could even see Sam like using the book as a coaster. And sort of being upset with Tara that Tara has let herself be pulled into their mother's game. Like again, she's a stat fanatic who now has two daughters who survived an actual event, Ghostface attack. There's now going to be a stab 9 based on their lives. Like again, their mother would just. I mean, she's a stat fanatic. She would love that. This also brings me to my next prediction. I do not think we'll see Tara in college in the next one. If anybody's in college, I think it would be Sam. Sam's trying to rebuild her life, trying to have a normal life. We'll see her in college. She'll have friends. Maybe there's going to be a big event in the town a big movie premiere event for Stab 9 in the town that Sam attends college. And so Tara and their mother are going to be there. Maybe the Meeks twins get pulled into it. Kirby gets pulled into it after the whole attack at StabCon. And we're going to see Sam have this group of friends who are being targeted. And this also ties into something I said in my Scream 6 Predictions Part 1 video. The fandom isn't going to like that Sam is the new final girl. They're going to be more accepting of Tara. She fits kind of the traditional final girl mold. They don't like that Sam is the daughter of Billy Loomis. So maybe the killer starts targeting her friends, Sam's friends, as a way of, just trying to drive her insane. And of course, that will lead to a mental breakdown for Sam. Now, I know that, like, one thing I will say, I haven't really worked into how this is going to tie in with the parents being attacked as well. I mean, of course, Mr. and Mrs. Carpenter will become targets at some point, so the girls are trying to team up to protect them. But I do think it'd be more interesting to see Sam in college. She's a little older. She's trying to rebuild her life. She's trying to play catch up, maybe. Maybe her mother's even making her feel guilty about, oh, well, you should have gone when you were 18 instead of running away from home. But now you're 25, 26 in college. I could even see the mother doing something like that, trying to make her feel bad for trying to accomplish something, quote unquote, later in life. And again, the killers start targeting Sam and her friends. Another thing I could even see in this movie, maybe there are killers who have different motives. That could be interesting too. Maybe there's one killer who, in some twisted way, wants Sam to be his bride, like to be his Ghostface bride. And maybe there's another killer who's targeting Tara and the Meeks twins. And I would love to see that, killers with different motives. But again, I see Sam in college trying to rebuild her life, build this future, and then the killings start, and the killer is trying to drive a wedge between her and her family. I think it would be interesting for the killer to plant doubt in Tara's head about Sam's sanity. I could even see the killer murdering Mr. and Mrs. Carpenter, at the very least, murdering Mrs. Carpenter, and sort of shedding doubt on whether Sam did it or not, to the point where Tara starts to think that, okay, maybe I am the final girl. Maybe my sister is the bad one, and I have to take her down. Again, I said this in my Scream 6 Predictions Part 1 video. I really do feel like they're building up to a war between the sisters. Sam being painted as the future Ghostface, Tara being the future final girl of the Stab/Scream franchise. It just seems inevitable, and I think it's a great direction to go. It's completely different from what we saw with Sydney's story. Now, if Mrs. Carpenter was in fact killed, I think this is the perfect way to bring Sidney Prescott back into the story, and here's why. The first 4 films, actually the entire franchise, the entire story of Sidney Prescott, all these Ghostface killings, were set in motion because of Sidney's own mother. and Sydney is now a mother herself. So it's come full circle. And so I could see Sydney sitting at home watching a news report that Mrs. Carpenter has been brutally murdered, her seeing maybe Tara just break down and a mess, and Sydney thinking to herself, you know what, I have to go protect those girls. I know what it's like to lose a mother. They need a mother figure in their life to protect them. Maybe she even pulls in Gail. Or maybe Gail's already in town because of the premiere of the new Stab film. But I think that the Carpenter sisters losing their mother, on a symbolic level, it would just be beautiful to watch Sydney try to step in and to serve that role, maybe for Tara. Maybe Sydney even becomes suspicious of Sam. Um, but yeah, I feel like again their mother dying would pull Sydney back into it because she would feel the need to protect them. So I would really love to see that. Again, I could see her pulling Gail into it, or even Gail just already being around because of the premiere of the new film and because of the murders that are taking place. Now, I've already talked about what I want to see with the um, the Meeks twins. Like I said, I could see a total Mindy and Kirby team up though in this one. Maybe they're the ones trying to solve the mystery, the same way we saw Gil and Dewey trying to solve the mystery in Scream 2. I could see Kirby and Mindy teaming up in this one to solve the mystery. And again, it would just be so fun to watch those two together. It would be epic. It would just be epic to see those two together. Maybe Chad is even around, kind of reveling in the glory of being the final boy of the Stab franchise, and him being targeted. Maybe the person he's dating, the woman he's dating this time around, is one of the killers, and she's been manipulating him. Um, Maybe even, God forbid, and I really say this, God forbid Martha Meeks dies, we can see him sort of be on this quest for vengeance, especially if he already lost his girlfriend in the previous film, and then to then lose his mother or his father or both of them, that would really send him on this quest for vengeance. Another, and this is just a random idea I'm kind of throwing out here. Another thing I thought about Sam, what if they're building us up like, because I was like, it'd be interesting if we look back and say, oh wow, Scream 2022 was really like a Ghostface origin story for Sam. What if they go the whole Dexter route and turns Sam into like a serial killer, but she's a serial killer who hunts other serial killers. Like she goes after other Ghostface killers. I think that would be interesting. I think that would be an interesting spin. Like she becomes an anti-hero, not necessarily the villain, but she's more of an anti-hero who kills other killers. So she kind of, embraces that dark side, but for a good reason. We kind of saw that with Billy helping her take down Richie in Scream 2022. So, I mean, I think that could be an interesting idea. Maybe Sam being this sort of serial killer with morals. But again, Tara, I can see Tara taking a firm stance like, no, I don't care who you're going after, it's still wrong. And we can sort of see her contradict herself because, again, she killed Amber, who was a Ghostface killer. But I can see her being more like, okay, if they're coming after you, that's one thing. But for you to be hunting them is an entirely different story. I also want to say another theory I have. I feel like we're going to see the return of Dreadit, the horror Reddit that they mentioned in Scream 2022. I feel like Richie and Amber weren't the only psychos on that message board. And people keep pushing this whole cult of Ghostface thing, which I honestly wasn't on board with, and I'm still not 100% on board with it. Because again, that was Kevin Williams' sort of original idea for Scream 3. It was going to be like a fan club slash cult of Stab fans who were going to be committing the murders in Scream 3, and Stu was going to still be alive and commanding them and telling them how to carry out these attacks. And then he transmuted that or transformed that idea into his show The Following, which ran on Fox for 3 seasons. So I don't know if I want to see a cult of Ghostface type thing, but I think Radio Silence and any writers they bring in could probably put a really interesting spin on it. But I do think if that happens, the Dreaded message board is going to play a role in that. Because why wouldn't it? I feel like they set that up to come back at some point later on. So, just as an overview of all my theories, I think that we're going to open at a StabCon to kind of get that feel of the Scream 2 opening in a theater. But again, it'll be a little different. We'll have a bunch of people dressed up as Ghostface. We won't know who's actually a killer, who's an innocent bystander. I think that, again, opening at StabCon, if we do open there will be a panel. I think we'll get a Ghostface call on that panel in a room full of people. There will be a quiz involving Kirby, Mindy, and Chad. I think that Chad would be the reason that someone gets killed because he would answer, the question wrong. And he could even carry that guilt forward in the film, and again, kind of become this avenger of not avenger, but he would have it would give him another good reason to go after the Ghostface and want to take down the killer. Again, I think the parents will be targeted in some way, just as a throwback to the original Scream 2. I do think that one or both of the Carpenter parents will die, and it will cause an even bigger division between the Carpenter sisters. Tara will start to doubt whether Sam is good or not. I think Sydney will return in some way that will be connected to something that has happened to the Carpenter sisters. And like I said, I feel like the thing that makes the most sense is their mother dying and Sydney feeling like she has to step into a motherly role for them. And I think we'll see Sam in college instead of Tara in college. I think we'll see Sam trying to build this new future for herself, and the killer coming in and messing that up. And I'm also hoping we will see killers who have different motives. I would like to see almost like a killer versus killer type thing. I think it'd be interesting to have a scene where the sisters are running from one ghost face and then running to the other, and then those two ghost face start fighting, and you realize, oh crap, they're not even working together. They have completely different motives. So yeah, y'all, that was just kind of me throwing out more of my predictions and ideas and what I think would be cool to see in Scream 6 whenever that comes out. It's doing pretty well in the box. The Scream 5 is still doing really well in the box office. So I'm really, really hoping that we get more Scream. I feel like, again, with the Meeks twins, the Carpenter sisters, they really set us up to have this sort of family centered Scream trilogy that focuses on family and what keeps families together and what tears them apart. I think there's so much more they can do with the franchise with these new characters. So again, tell me what you guys think. Drop down below and comment. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video. And again, I'm Tristian Circa 89, and I obsess over pop culture so you don't have to. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.